Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Now, live at 5 o'clock, in just a couple of minutes, a Metro Detroit county is going to demand that the state change the way it allocates, the way it doles out COVID-19 vaccine. 2 counties will tell you about the major shift one county will be asking for.
All right, Sean, they're suing the state. Macomb County restaurant owners are taking the state of Michigan back to court, but this time they aren't demanding to fully reopen.
We're going to begin, though, with Storm Tracker 4, a fresh shot of snow, which could be a whole lot worse. We saw that already this week. We're just going to get a glancing blow here from what is actually a much bigger storm.
So let's get over to Ben here off the top at 5. We aren't talking about much here, right, Ben?
No, Kim and Devin. In fact, because we held off the snow for so long earlier today, we really don't have much left of this system. But what is out there is pretty much invading right now, just in time for the drive home. So just about everybody's getting those flakes reporting right now at the top of the hour. Grosse Ile, Monroe, the only 2 spots not reporting the snow, but it is pretty light. You can tell there from the lighter icons. And even when we look at visibility, usually this number has to be less than 2 miles before we actually start seeing accumulating snow. And maybe out in Howell, it is starting to stack up, but everywhere else, this stuff is fairly light. May intensify just a little bit through the evening hours, but I'd be surprised if we get anybody that picks up more than an inch of snow out of this. There will be some lake effect tonight. We'll talk about that coming up. Weekend, though, cool, but we will stay dry to start. We've got another shot of snow as we get into Sunday and Monday. But, guys, all the while, we're seeing these temperatures rise, and we'll talk about how far we get in the 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, Ben, our other top story at this hour, a group of Macomb County restaurants suing the state of Michigan, demanding the state pay them for their losses during the pandemic shutdowns.
And they want a jury to hear the case. Business editor Rod Maloney has been going over the lawsuit. Rod, they aren't suing to fully reopen. They just want the money this time.
Oh, that's right. You know, it's the first 10 pages of their 17-page filing talks all about the governor's shutdowns or executive orders that were found unconstitutional, the MDHHS. They're upset about that. Well, they spend the next 7 pages talking about what they believe are the needless costs in the millions of dollars to them. And so they don't want the governor just to get them some federal PPE money or PPP money. They want a whole lot more. Mount Clemens Recreation and Bowl, locally known as Rec Bowl, opened 70 years ago.
We need to be open.
Fred Fox's family's owned and operated the business from the start, and he's worried there isn't much future.
Several of my competitors have gone out of business, and that's the sad thing. We can't serve them all. Any one place cannot serve them all.
So he and the rest of the Macomb County Restaurant Bar and Banquet Association filed this local lawsuit saying, quote, new, different, and unforeseen business expenses attributable to the COVID-19 orders are extreme. Lost profits suffered by these businesses are astronomical. Yet it goes a big step farther. Quote, just compensation in the form of monetary damages to plaintiffs' member businesses for the regulatory takings perpetrated by defendants, including business expenses and lost profits, end quote. Attorney Sean Kelly says the state constitution is clear.
And just compensation must be rendered. It doesn't say, well, unless the state really, really needs it, or they don't have to give just compensation if there's an epidemic. So, I mean, that's what we're looking for. It's the state's constitutional duty to remit money to these businesses to make them whole again.
Yes, Fox wants the family business to get back on its feet, but more than anything, he does not want another shutdown.
If we get compensation, that'll help many that have had things worse than others. But if we can't open, we're done.
So we reached out to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services today about this litigation, and they said, well, we don't talk about pending litigation, and so they had no comment. Back to you.
Rod, I'm wondering, though, do the restaurant and bar owners have suggestions as to how they could open safely?
They have a laundry list of those, and in fact, what they're saying is how is it you can go to a big box retailer, a hardware store, be out with other people, even with 25% capacity, and there's not a problem there, but yet they're, for all intents and purposes, shut down. They're saying, look, we know how to do this. We know how to do it safely, and they'd like to see the governor listen to them so that they can get back to business and start making money in a business that needs people in order to be able to pay for itself.
Indeed. Yep. Okay. Rod, thanks.
Let's take a look now at today's coronavirus numbers. The state reporting 888 new cases over the past 24 hours. Marks the third straight day with new cases coming in below the 1,000 mark. 85 more deaths also being reported, including 72 from a review of vital records.
Now take a look at progress on the vaccine. A little less than 2.3 million doses have been delivered to Michigan, with about 1.7 million shots going into arms. And tonight, leaders in Livingston County are demanding answers from Lansing.
They want to know why the state has only sent them a total of 13,000 shots. Meantime, right next door in Oakland County, they've received 238,000 doses. Sean Lay following this story. Sean, Livingston County, of course, does have a smaller population, but nowhere close to what they need here.
You're right. We did get the census out today and started studying it. Livingston County, 190,000 people live there. The state so far sent about 12 to 13,000 doses since mid-December to the entire county. Wexford County, 33,000 people live there. They've gotten about the same amount of doses. At 5:30, a special meeting in Livingston County. One county commissioner is going to demand that the state scrap the way it's doling out these vaccines to counties.
I'm bringing forward a resolution that calls on the state of Michigan to retract their social factor plan and replace it with a medical factor plan that tracks the science and the medicine that we've seen.
Livingston County Commissioner Mitchell Zajac says the way the state doles out vaccines simply doesn't add up. The state uses a formula to identify the most vulnerable called the Vulnerability Index. Detroit vaccinating 15,000 people per week who need the vaccine, who are at risk for COVID. But the state has sent Livingston County and its health providers combined a fraction of that since mid-December.
12,650 according to the state of Michigan.
190,000 people live in the county. Close to 18% are over the age of 65. Just 900 doses due to arrive this week from the state, and they didn't.
This week, with a mix of the weather and perhaps other logistical issues, we've not received any additional doses. We had a clinic plan for tomorrow, clinic plan for Saturday and for Sunday. Unless those vaccines show up tomorrow, we'll be canceling all three.
Livingston County has the highest median income in the state, but the majority of people dying from the virus are seniors. Zajac says the vulnerability index is failing the people it's meant to help.
There's a smarter and a smoother way to roll this out. We have to get rid of this idea of using vaccines as some sort of social justice tool, and we have to look at the fair and the medical and the scientific rationale that would go towards helping seniors first.
And again, that resolution will be made at a special meeting at 5:30. Look, the vulnerability index is important in many, many areas. Say Detroit, if you don't have transportation or a regular doctor or health provider, it's working there to get those doses to Detroiters. But get this, the state using its own index is sending fewer doses than the index recommends to Livingston County. They want to know why. They say it's got to change. Too many seniors being left behind, guys.
Yeah. All right, Sean. A former Hazel Park police detective is accused of stealing tens of thousands of dollars meant to help other officers.
Sean Boucher is accused of embezzling more than $65,000 in public asset forfeiture funds. Victor Williams has a look at the charges he's facing as he's made his first appearance in court.
Well, this officer is facing some pretty serious charges after being investigated by the FBI, and it turns out their findings suggest that there was a clear breach of public trust.
This is people of the state of Michigan versus Sean Kenji Boucher.
Former Hazel Park detective Sean Boucher sat before a judge at the Oakland County 43rd District Court, arraigned on several major charges surrounding embezzlement during his time on the force. Boucher is accused of stealing from the city of Hazel Park, charged with 7 counts of conducting a criminal enterprise, embezzlement between $50,000 and $100,000, and 5 smaller counts of embezzlement by a public official, more than $50. The money believed to be taken from several resources in the department, including the Officer Training Fund.
Sir, the allegations, multiple allegations, do go to a breach of public trust.
For the most part, Boucher was silent in the courtroom.
You say your client is standing mute. The court will convert that, sir, to a not guilty plea.
But his attorney wasted no time making a case for why he should be able to get out on bond.
Mr. Boucher has been present and available, and I've been working with the agents involved in this case since the outset of the case 3 years ago. They haven't gone anywhere, haven't created any trouble.
And while Boucher may have been cooperative, the prosecution wasn't pulling any punches.
He was a detective in the city of Hazel Park, a position of trust. These are serious charges, facing possible imprisonment.
And Boucher was given a $50,000 bond. The only catch is he must hand over his passport, and he can't leave the state of Michigan. In Hazel Park, Victor Williams, Local 4.
Okay, Victor. Well, as another winter storm slams the nation, a real crisis continues in hard-hit Texas.
At least 36 people have died during what has been a week of snow, ice, and at times sub-zero temperatures. Communities have spent days in the dark, no heat, no water in many cases. The power is slowly coming back on, but new problems keep popping up. We've got long lines at grocery stores that are quickly running out of food, plus fuel for cars and for generators. Those lucky enough to have them are running low.
50 miles I had to drive to get these 2 gallons so I can run a generator overnight.
It's very stressful to be in a cold house, and if you're in a cold house, you're definitely not eating any warm food. Then when you go out, you can't find food.
Officials say this will be the most costly natural disaster in Texas history, surpassing the $125 billion of damage done by Hurricane Harvey.
Senator Ted Cruz is facing backlash for flying to Mexico while hundreds of thousands of Texans are without power because of the winter weather there. Photos surfaced of the Texas senator boarding a plane to Cancun yesterday. Cruz says he flew down for a night because his daughter asked him to take a trip with friends and he wanted to be a good dad. He says he's in constant contact with state and local leaders. Cruz was captured at the Cancun airport today, flying back to Texas. NBC News reports Cruz was scheduled to fly back Saturday. All right, much more to come on a Thursday. Let's go ahead and check in with Hank.
So many of you emailing me, telling me you're experiencing postal problems, big delays. Well, the response I got from the Postal Service today is surprising. I'm Hank Winchester. Help me, Hank, with that story. New tonight.
All right, Hank, also this time it's very different. A breakthrough mission to Mars makes it to the surface of the red planet. It was thrilling. We'll have more coming up. Larry.
A new survey shows how long people in different communities will live because of COVID. I'm Larry Spruill. We're breaking down the numbers